Hello and welcome to the show. This is episode 20 of the Life of Gaming podcast. My name is Jamie, and I'll be your captain on this cruise of video game awesomeness. And you all know my co-host, the Leonardo da Vinci to my Ezio, Mr. Josh Brandt.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Great, great. Well, my finger isn't doing too great. My small pinky.
What did you do, sir?
Oh, do you really want to know?
I want to know. You got to tell me the tale of what happened.
Okay. Well, I was playing ball with my son.
Okay.
11 a.m. this morning. Well, not 11 a.m. 11. Wait a
Yeah,
second. In the morning. Whatever. Not at night. And I was pitching him the ball.
Yeah.
And he wasn't hitting it very well, so I gave him some pointers and all. So
Okay.
I pitched him the ball.
Yeah.
And just all of a sudden, he just cranked it, and it just flew right at my face, and my finger got up there, and it like jammed it all the way in. Oh,
dude.
man, it killed.
Good.
It's like awesome hit, but ouch.
Well, this is actually a very interesting episode because, first of all, this is episode 20, which is crazy. We made it to 20 episodes, which is awesome.
Man, that's amazing.
The other odd thing is that we're actually recording this on a Sunday night instead of a Friday night, so you'll all be getting this a little late.
Yeah, everybody's freaking out. Oh, no, it's not here Saturday.
You know that one guy that keeps hitting refresh over and over again?
It's just sitting at his computer. Oh, well, please.
But, I mean, Friday night was actually my wife. It was her 10-year high school reunion, so we had to go to that, and that ran a little late. And then Saturday, I was doing that rock concert thing where I'm sitting on the art council board for that, so I'm working at that. So that was my Saturday.
Cool.
So Sunday worked out pretty well.
Sounds good.
But you guys know it's just not the two of us. We also have my brother-in-law who's been helping us out, getting more Donkey Kong videos up and things like that, Matt. Matt, how are you doing today?
Hello.
Doing great. I do not have any injured pinkies.
Good.
So.
And the other thing, guys, in case you haven't noticed, Matt's got a new mic. So everybody, your ears can rest.
You sound so good now, Matt.
So much better. But we're actually in the middle of our summer game series right now. And we're actually doing Assassin's Creed. So hopefully you guys enjoy that series. And as part of this series, we always bring a guest on. And tonight, he's been on our show before. This is a pretty big deal. It is his third appearance on the Life of Gaming podcast.
He's the first third time.
That is right. It is Rob from the Workprint.
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on?
How you doing, man? I heard you were on a long drive, so you're pretty tired today.
Yeah, I'm a little tired. I had a 2.5 hour drive. I went away for the weekend with my family.
Oh, cool.
I just want to say something real quick.
Sure.
I am the first of 3. So take that, Bobby. Suck it. Who's the geek guru now?
That's right. Oh, that's hilarious.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
He's gonna win on this
now.
Friday.
Yeah, that's my new hobby is starting fake feuds with other guests.
Well, with that, guys, we'll just hop into our news section and what we like to call Captain's Log. Okay, guys, we'll just hop into we'll start with PlayStation news this time. PlayStation news. Actually, Brant, I guess I'll start with you, man. I know some news came out with the PlayStation Plus program. They're going to be changing a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, you mean you're going to be able to vote for what game you want? Is that the news
Yes,
you're referring
absolutely.
to?
It's actually pretty cool, though. That's a pretty big
Yeah,
deal.
I think they're going to have like 3 games a month, and the one that gets the most votes will become free. And the other 2 will actually be discounted. So you're actually getting a great deal with all aspects of it, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, so if there's a game especially you want for free that you don't have yet, then make sure you vote for it.
And how do we have any idea when that's starting?
There's no date set yet for it, but it should be right around the corner. I mean, it's in a beta testing right now, but
cool.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I mean, the deals just keep getting better and better, and the PS Plus games that were announced for this month are pretty fantastic. So.
And I can't remember what all's on the plate this month.
Oh, I know. On the PS3, you're getting God of War Ascension.
Oh, okay.
Which that's a game that I wanted to play but never got around to. So now that it's free, might as well. They have Lara Croft in the Temple of Osiris, another game I wanted to play, but I wasn't going to pay full price for it. But
I really want that game.
now
I wouldn't
that's
pay
free.
for it, but I really want it.
There's a really good a clone in the what is it? Clone Incorporated, or what is it?
What, Stealth Inc?
Stealth Inc.
Stealth
yeah.
Inc. 2. That game is. I
Yeah.
have that on Wii U. That game is awesome.
That's coming
Check
for
that
free.
out. That's a really
yeah,
good
I
game.
have that too.
Cool.
And there Sound Shapes. I don't know if you guys
Nope.
ever
That's
played
a
that. but
that's
yeah.
a great game.
Yeah, it sure is.
Played it on my Vita. A great game.
Perfect Vita game. The soundtrack is awesome. The platforming elements actually go along with the soundtrack, so it's different in that regard. So it's definitely worth checking out now. And there's like 2 other good games, but I can't think of them right now.
Cool. Well, hey, Matt, quick question for you.
Yeah.
We know that Xbox in this department gets trounced every time with the free games because Xbox has games with gold. And we get 2 free games a month on Xbox, 2 free on 360. Or PlayStation this month is getting what, Brant? 6, I think, for each
6.
system.
And then they're cross-buy, cross-save.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is
a
crazy.
lot of them are.
And then
Yeah,
on top of
it's
this,
such a good
PlayStation is
deal.
adding this whole voting thing. Matt, what does Xbox, what do we have to see them do to turn this kind of around? Because right now they're getting destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're trying to compete at that level, then they need to just find better games to offer, maybe build up a more backlog, maybe with backwards compatibility, start offering more 360 games or something like that. But I don't know. It just depends on how you look at it, because like they're still profitable and they're still gonna, the games you want, you're gonna pay for. It's just there's less of I want to get online and try 4 free new games that maybe one of them I'll really like, but the others I'll try and just kind of go on with and not really care about in the end. So it's just I don't know. The cool thing about PlayStation is that you can try so many games for free, and that's awesome. But I don't know. For me, it doesn't really change much on the games I would really focus my time on.
Sure. So you kind of feel like if you had that many games, you wouldn't play them all anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it actually happened because I had PlayStation Plus for like three years, I think, when I had my PS3, and they had a ton of great games.
Yeah.
But I like never got around to playing most of them.
Sure.
It
And
just built up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it should be said, like you said, Matt, most of those games you're not even going to get around to anyway.
But there are great ones every now and then. I think Infamous 2 I got for free. Like I didn't pay for either Infamous game.
That's
I got
right.
Infamous 1 when they had that deal when
they got
PlayStation
hacked.
got hacked.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then I bought my PS3 then, and then like I got Infamous 1 for free, and a little bit later they had Infamous 2 for free. And so I played both of those for free, which was great.
Yeah.
But then like, the next month you'd have a bunch of games that I would never touch.
Sure.
And it was that kind of thing. So
Well,
I mean, PlayStation is just always going to dominate unless Xbox offers a lot more games. But
sure. Well, Rob, what about you, man? Do you think there's anything in particular Microsoft could be doing better right now?
No, I think the problem is that they have less games out there to offer as far as like, I actually think PlayStation Plus was better on the PS3 than it has been on the PS4 so far.
Sure.
And I think as far as the PS4 is concerned, that what PlayStation does that Microsoft is starting to do is they have been offering indie games for free at launch, which Microsoft just did this past month with So Many Me, which is a smaller game that came out free right at launch.
Yeah.
I think Guacamelee was free at launch too, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, there's been a couple games. The problem is that because PlayStation Plus has been riding high for so long, and because there have been some months on Xbox One that haven't been great, that I think Xbox One gets the Games with Gold program gets a little bit of a bad rap. But they're doing it better now.
The games are so much better now. Because we have Assassin's Creed now, which is that's pretty big deal for what they used to have.
Right. And truth be told, I was looking at and this is just a me problem. I was looking at the PlayStation Plus games for this coming month, and I already own or have played every single one that they're giving.
Well, that's quite a bit of games.
That's the only problem
right,
with this.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I'm actually more excited for this upcoming month's Xbox One.
Oh, okay, sure.
And and I'm actually really excited about the voting feature. The problem is I think the same problem that Steam has when they let you vote for the next deal during their summer sale, is that you're gonna get some times where the best game doesn't necessarily win, but what people are most anticipated or what's already a popular older title is going to end up winning.
Sure.
And I'd rather see more new things, and even if they're just indie titles, I'd rather see more indie titles at launch come out for free on these systems. 'Cause especially a game that doesn't have the marketing some of these bigger games have. I mean, you talk about like, we'll get to it later, but Rocket League from this past month, where I mean, I didn't know much about it until it was released, and then that game's great, and I don't think I would have played it if it wasn't for PlayStation Plus.
Sure.
So I'd rather see more stuff like that.
Yeah, and that game's been downloaded like 5 million times or something. Like it's crazy big. And although I thought I heard rumors somewhere that it might be coming to Xbox sometime in the future. I don't think that's full on PlayStation exclusive right now. I mean, have they said it's PlayStation exclusive?
I don't think they have. It's also available on PC.
Oh, okay, so. Gotcha. Okay. I guess, and one thing with PlayStation doing so well right now, Sony announced PlayStation has passed over 2 million units shipped. Not sold, shipped, but still, that is crazy good because Wii U, which has a full year ahead of them, they just passed 10 million units.
Sorry, James, what was that number again?
25.
Okay.
You said 2 million.
Did I say 2? Oops.
Yeah,
25.
PS4 is sort of
2
not
million, that's
selling.
not. They did that in the first week?
Pretty much.
25. Yeah, that makes sense.
20, yeah.
million.
That adds
That's a little bit better. That's
it's a little better.
Oh, good thing you guys were listening on that one.
Yeah, no problem.
But real quick, just on Xbox side of things, Xbox has come out and announced that they have passed 100,000 achievements across their system. So, I mean, that's quite a bit.
100,000.
100,000.
I don't even know what that means. Is that like individual achievements or?
Yeah, individual achievements. Yeah, it's not your gamer score. That's individual achievements. So if you got every single achievement, it'd be over 100,000. But of course, some of those, I mean, you got to think they're like, cross-gen games. You have the same achievements on 2 different systems and things like that. So it's probably not 100,000
They carry
original.
over, don't they?
No, not necessarily. That's why, people that are trophy hunters and things like that, they'll get it on PS3 and PS4 and play both, so you can get achievements twice. But and the only other thing with Xbox, really, I mean, not a lot's happening. It's slow right now with the summer, but Gamescom is next week. Actually, while you're listening to this, I should say this week.
Yeah.
And they're going to be talking about Scalebound and I'm trying to think what Quantum Break and Crackdown and all those games. So there's going to be a lot of new information from Xbox on our next podcast.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I heard they officially said that they're going to show Crackdown gameplay.
Yeah.
And I had played Crackdown, the original, like a long time ago when it first came out, and then I played it again last year, and that game was super fun. Like, definitely needed a lot of work, but as far as what you could do in that game, it was a great idea, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm really excited for that one.
Sure. I mean, and Crackdown, I've never played Crackdown 2. I've just played parts of the first Crackdown when you let me borrow it a long time ago, but I mean, I haven't really gotten into the series. I'd like to see more of it, so, we'll see. Although Scalebound is really the game I want to hear about. I don't know if you guys saw or not. What's his name? I want to say Hideki Kamiya. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. But the guy from Platinum Games, he's always been very... What do you want to say? He just says what he feels, and that's just
vocal.
How it is. Exactly. He's very vocal.
He's also a troll.
And he came out and said all this bad stuff about Microsoft, how they're going to what did he say? Like they're using him as a pawn during Gamescom, and he doesn't like the way they're showing off his game. So, I mean, he had a ton of issues when Wonderful 101 came out. He's very, what do you want to say, brash. And he just, like, if someone asks him a question on Twitter that someone else already asked him, he's like, someone already asked me that, I'm blocking you. And he just blocks people. Like, these are fans of his game, and he just blocks them for asking questions on Twitter.
That gives you a reason to support them.
Man, I would have thought like he would have been excited that they're
so.
kind of focusing on it and trying to put it
exactly.
out there.
Well, I mean, this is the guy that made Wonderful 101 and Bayonetta. Like all these big games are Platinum Games, and like I think wasn't he the creator of Devil May Cry series? I think I might be wrong on that, but I mean, he's made all these really popular games, and he's a jerk.
Yeah, but then he was complaining about being on the stage for the presser for Microsoft. And that's what he meant by being a pawn.
Yeah.
It's just that he didn't want to go out on stage and, be paraded in front of the crowd. But then earlier today on Aaron Greenberg's Twitter account was a picture of him smiling with Phil Spencer and then take a picture together. So he's just you gotta take everything that he says on his Twitter account with a grain of salt.
It's just hilarious because people get so mad at him. Like they're like, I hate this guy, and then they still buy his games.
I think he's great.
He is like a saint compared to that one guy that made Fez. What was his name?
Oh,
Phil
Fish.
Fish.
Yeah.
Phil Fish. Yeah.
No, that guy's a jerk.
We won't even go there.
No, but just from the what was that indie game, the movie?
Yeah.
Because I mean, at least
Good movie.
I've never followed the guy, so I don't know. But just the way he was portrayed in that, he didn't come off with the best light, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't follow him on Twitter, but every time I was bored, I would go to his Twitter account just
Right.
to watch and read the other comments that people were leaving for
Oh,
on what
man.
he was saying. I miss him.
geez.
I miss
Oh,
Phil Fish.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I heard somewhere that he's possibly working on a new game. Is that I don't know if that was true or not.
I mean, I don't know.
He could be. You never know. I mean, people like that, they get really mad at the industry and they just blow up on everybody and they leave for a while and then they come back and they're fine.
They can't handle stress well.
Right. But I guess with that, we'll hop over to Nintendo. If you guys are Smash Brothers fans, which I know most people are, at least the ones that have
yeah.
Wii U, they just released a major update a few days ago. It's actually adding a ton of new content. It's adding 2 new stages, the Princess Peach and the Legend of Zelda stages from N64. So that's pretty cool. But the big update, it added YouTube, not streaming, but you could actually, record your video and then send it to YouTube, kind of like what you could do on Mario Kart 8. And the other thing is it added tournament mode. Now, have any of you guys played the tournament mode yet? I'm just curious.
I haven't got a chance. I came home a little late today, and
Sure.
so I haven't even downloaded the update yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't even touched it either. I feel kind of bad because I've been playing a lot of other stuff, which we'll talk about when we get into our, what we've been playing. But yeah, I haven't touched it either.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it until you mentioned it, and so I'm definitely gonna download that and get in the tournament probably tomorrow.
Sure. And you know what we're gonna have to
That's
do?
gonna
We're
be
gonna have to do
awesome.
a Life of Gaming tournament. That would be awesome.
Oh,
Or maybe
yeah,
team
for
up
sure.
with the work print, right, Rob? And we'll do a giant tournament.
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me.
That would be awesome.
I love
course-
winning things.
Right. Of course, Brant couldn't play because he doesn't like Wii U, but
I'll keep up with my Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing.
there you go.
Hey Rob, what's your favorite character to play as in Smash Brothers?
Oh, I truth be told, I go random most times.
Really?
That's boring. and
I play
sad.
against
Takes skill.
I play against my son a lot, so it's one of those things where to keep the playing field even.
Sure.
He'll play as Princess Peach.
Right.
Yeah, I'll play as anybody. I think I have fun with almost all the characters except Olimar.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I like Olimar.
I've played with almost every character. I'm not a big fan of Rosalina because you have to throw the star out and then attack.
Yeah,
and
I'm
I don't
not-
know.
yeah,
I'm
not
just-
big on
yeah.
her.
But of course, they actually just released my favorite character in the series as DLC, Lucas. I mean, I enjoy Ness, but I like Lucas's the small variations in Ness's moveset. I like Lucas better. So I'm really glad they put him back.
I was kind of disappointed though with the update. They had one of the characters that I was hoping would come as an official character. They just made him a costume
Oh,
for
yeah.
me, and that was
King
the
K. Rool.
King K.
Yep,
Rool.
yep,
Yeah, I was hoping he would actually come as a character.
Yeah,
but
KK
nope,
Slider
just
and I forget
costumes.
some other people too. So I mean, they've added some new
Yeah.
costumes. And they did the same thing with Splatoon. Everyone's like, put the Inklings in the game. Well, they're costumes. So I mean, it saves them
it's-
development time because they can just make it so they can say they're in the game.
But what was all that voting for? We haven't even heard word on what characters are going to come.
We probably won't for a while. We'll
But
see.
I mean, next year the NX is coming out, as
Yeah.
if rumors are true. So I mean, they don't have much time.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, a lot of what people are voting on, maybe they'll use it for the next Smash Brothers. Who knows?
Yeah, true.
The other thing that I've been playing a lot of recently, Splatoon. They're actually doing another Splatterfest. So if you guys haven't checked out the Splatterfest, it's awesome. You go in. It started, I think, yesterday. You go in and you pick a side. This time it is, what would you rather roast over an open fire? Hot dogs or marshmallows?
Marshmallows.
So, yeah, I went team marshmallow as well.
Heck
So-
yeah.
So you go in there and you vote for one, and they give you a shirt. And in that shirt, you've got 4 slots to fill. And so you have the week to play with that shirt and build up those slots, and get new, what do you want to call it, perks on that shirt. And then on Saturday, August 8th, then you play all day. And it's actually super cool because how it's normally when you play Splatoon, it's daytime, it's just, you're playing in the arenas. Well, during Splatterfest, everything is nighttime and there's big billboard, neon signs everywhere and all the paint,
cool.
all the paint is glow in the dark green and purple. And so you play on these teams, and after that day is done, it adds up all the points. And if you're on the winning team, you get like these prizes, which is pretty cool. So that's coming up. So check that out. The other thing with Nintendo, the other big update they did, they updated Miiverse recently. And with the new Miiverse update, they kind of changed everything. There's no like news feed anymore. They actually broke everything into sections. There's now, instead of doing like, screenshots, things like that, well, now they have play journals. So if you're playing a game and you hit, Miiverse, it opens up a play journal and it takes a screenshot of whatever you're doing at the time. And at the bottom, you kind of write about what you're doing. So almost like you're making a guide for yourself of you playing through the game. So they've done that. They also have 2 different sections. They've got one for like drawings, things like that, and they've got one for like conversation. So they've kind of broken everything apart to make it a little easier to follow. And they also increased the amount of times you can post per day. I think they increased it to like 30 before it cuts you off. So I mean, they've done some minor updates, but honestly, I haven't touched Miiverse in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, like we said before one time, Miiverse is great, but it's just not integral to the basic functions of playing games and everything, as much as at least Xbox and PlayStation. So like, I mean, most people probably don't go around on Xbox and PlayStation Network and all the time, like look at what their friends are posting all the time. Maybe every now and then, but more often we use it for chat and messaging friends and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a system that's not built for the things that people use these systems for.
Sure, so. And honestly, when Wii U launched, I loved Miiverse. Thought it was great. Like when I was playing puzzle games like Little Inferno and things like that, and I got stuck on a puzzle, I go on Miiverse, I take a screenshot, say, hey, what do I do here? And within like, not even 5 minutes, I have like 10 responses, boom, boom, boom. And it was awesome. But now, like, no one uses it. So it kind of like, it's going to be interesting to see how they use it on the NX. And Rob, have you ever really gotten into Miiverse at all?
No, I mean, I think I go in there every once in a while just to see what some of the other people's drawings and stuff were.
Sure.
So some interesting stuff.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there, yeah. I mean, especially with the Art Academy game and things like that, we could actually add color and all that stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But yeah,
the best drawings.
Beyond that, I didn't check it out. No, I was going to say beyond that, I didn't really check it out.
Sure.
It's probably like going the way of PlayStation Home.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they'll carry
way better
over
than
the
PlayStation Home, though.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be huge, too. That kind of, I mean, they kept it going for a really long time, which
way longer than it needed to be.
Exactly. Pretty much all that happens, people would be like those, like, what do you call them, avatars, and they'd run up to somebody, they would dance, and they would run away. Like, that's all it was. Like, it wasn't anything. It was just, and you could go bowling, and it was weird.
Yeah, I always tried to go in and go bowling or play pool or whatever, but, like, it never worked.
Well, and the problem with the way they had home set up is that you had to, like, it literally, if there was a pool table and someone was playing on it, it's supposed to be like real life. So if someone was already playing at the pool table, you had to wait in line. You could not play pool. Yeah, it was really weird. So, oh well.
Goodbye.
But to get out of that, we'll hop real quick into our multi-platform news. This is something that we've been talking about for a while, kind of rumored here and there about ZombiU coming back. And it's been rumored that they were going to make a sequel to it for a while, and then we heard it got scrapped. Well, now they came out and said, hey, it's coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, just called Zombie. It's coming out August 18th. So that's like really soon. They're like popping this thing out quick. Now, Brant, do you have any interest in Zombie? Well, I guess when it was ZombiU, but now that it's Zombie, do you have any interest in checking this out?
Well, first of all, somebody must have saw something that said, hey, there's enough interest in this game that we should probably just make it for the rest of the consoles.
Sure.
So it's sort of puzzling because that game, did that even sell very well on the Wii U?
It did not sell well at all. I mean, it was pretty, I forget how many copies it sold. I can't remember.
Right. It didn't review very well, but I remember people kind of look back on it as a great use of the gamepad and kind of a fun game to play as a launch title.
It's sort of like Shenmue in a way. Not a great game, but remembered as a cult classic.
Sure. And I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen with Zombie, because what made Zombie so great and so unique and so tense was the gamepad. Because, I mean, you played it like a normal, first-person shooter, hunting zombies in London. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of the game. But what happens when you had to look in your inventory, you had to look down at the gamepad to get into your bag. And so while that was happening, on your TV screen, it was just you looking in your bag. And zombies could still attack you. The game didn't pause. And so you were looking away from the screen. And that added a bunch of tension. That made the game unique. And like sounds and stuff would come to the gamepad, which is pretty cool. But with this new version, what's going to happen? You hold down a button and your inventory pops up on the TV. So you're still looking at the TV. And they said the game still doesn't pause, but you can't see anything. So it's like
it makes so you can't look up and
well, I mean,
or put your bag down and
Yeah.
see.
I don't know. I feel like that's going to ruin what made that game special.
It sounds
Yeah,
like
that
they
sounds
need
like a
to
frustrating thing.
like remaster all the controls too.
Sure.
Because I guess they have new weapons in this one.
Yeah,
'cause all
they've
you
added-
could use was like a cricket bat. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
in the first game, all you had was the cricket bat. In this one, they've added a shovel, and they've added a spiked bat. So like a bat with nails in it.
Oh.
And I guess the shovel, they said it's slower but has a longer reach, and then like the spiked bat does more damage, or it's something like that. And they
Heck,
also
that's just two other weapons though. I mean, Dead Nation or not Dead Nation. What was that game called? Dead Island.
yes,
You
Oh,
could
yeah,
like
Dead
make
Island.
so many weapons from that.
I
and
know.
They're just going to say, okay, we're going to add these two other weapons.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
really?
do you get into Dead Rising? You could use like a panda bear to beat up on zombies.
Yeah,
Something like
exactly.
yeah, you can do all. Man, that game was crazy.
There's guns as well in
Yeah, there
ZombiU,
is,
but they
yes.
have such limited ammo that you ended up using the cricket bat, for the
Right,
most
like
part. Unless
every
you were
other
surrounded.
zombie.
Yeah, and honestly, even if you fired the gun, it alerted all the other zombies they came to.
Correct.
So using the gun is just like it's there,
Correct.
but you couldn't
It's
use it very
realistic,
often.
I guess.
ZombiU
in
was
the lore
actually
of zombies.
ZombiU was actually a pretty good game. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it quite a bit.
I enjoyed it too. Yeah, I owned it for a while. I beat it and played through it. It's
Yeah.
really short.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
The
Although
inventory stuff doesn't bother me, like the
Yeah.
change in the inventory. What bothers me is that there was times where you would use, I believe it was like a camcorder, that
yeah.
had like a black light feature. So some of the puzzles required you to like use that camcorder. When
And
you were
look
using
around,
the
yeah.
camcorder, when you're using the camcorder, you had to look at the gamepad. And one of the best scares in that game comes from staring at that gamepad and like using the camcorder. And so it's a shame that effect is going to be lost, because when you're looking at that gamepad, you're holding it kind of close to your face.
Yeah.
And so when you get a random jump scare out of it, and it only happens I think once in the entire game, but it's done so well that it literally made me jump out of my couch. And I was so losing that I think is a
Right.
bigger deal.
Sure. But pretty much when they asked him, what are you going to do to add tension now that the gamepad's gone? And they said, well, we're going to have this great surround sound and things like that. I'm thinking audio isn't really going to replicate the gamepad. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to charge too, because I don't think they've talked about price yet. I'm hoping it's like more of a budget title, like, maybe
Yeah.
$20 at most. But if they do kind of like what happened with Prototype, because with Prototype, out of nowhere, they're just like, it's up on the store next week, and boom, it was there. Like no one
was
knew it was
no
coming. Exactly. And they said it came out, and there were so many problems. They said frame rate issues and like all the graphical hiccups and all these problems. They said it ran so much worse than the original 360 and PS3 versions. It's like, well, why even release it? So I
They
don't
need
know.
to make a profit somehow.
Sure.
So
So, I
might
mean,
as
I
well
don't-
just
Yeah.
release it.
Right. And I think, honestly, Zombie will probably sell because people are curious. They didn't have a Wii U. But I feel like they're not going to get the pure ZombiU experience like they would have gotten otherwise.
Yeah, they're basically just going to say, like, oh, this game actually is not that great. But people who played it on the Wii U at the time had walked away and said, oh, it's pretty fun. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other news on multi-platform, like I said, with Gamescom next week, they came out and said Mafia 3 is on the way. Now, have you guys played the Mafia games at all? I'm kind of curious. Rob, have you ever played Mafia 1 or 2?
No, I never did, but I know my younger brother on a 360 was like really, really into them.
Yeah.
And he like 100%ed them and did everything you could possibly do with them. And they always look good, but it wasn't until recently that I started getting into more open world games.
Sure.
And so,
And
I
I've never
just
played
didn't have time for it.
Right, and I've never played Mafia 1. Mafia 2 was actually really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. It felt like a Grand Theft Auto kind of game, but the story kind of reminded me more of like a LA Noire kind of thing. I mean, you weren't really solving crimes, but I mean, it was that era, I really enjoyed it, but it did feel kind of, I don't know, compact, I guess, compared to like the openness of a GTA kind of game.
Yeah,
So-
I was interested in it, but
Yeah.
I never got around to play it either.
Yeah,
If it was like LA, like you said, like LA
Yeah.
Noir, then definitely, because that game,
That
I
game was
really
good.
like that game.
the game was awesome.
They nailed the atmosphere.
Yeah, and I feel like
being
the
in the
atmosphere in
50s or
Mafia 2 is
40s
like
or-
that too.
no, it's
I
like
mean, it feels
30s.
really good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I've never even I've heard the title and literally that's it.
Yeah.
I've never seen any gameplay or anything on them. But now that you say it's kind of like in that setting and everything, that makes me want to give them a shot
Sure.
because I love that setting. LA Noire is my favorite. What is that? Who makes Red Dead? What company is that?
Rockstar.
Yeah, Rockstar.
Rockstar. Yeah. LA Noire is my favorite Rockstar game by far. That was my first platinum on PS3. was LA
Wow.
Noire.
That must have been pretty hard to get.
That was a tough one.
It was mostly just getting collectibles. The hardest part was you had to get 100 different cars, and certain ones would only appear in rare areas, and you basically had to wreck people and steal them.
Well, that
Good
worked.
call.
It wasn't
Right.
too bad.
Well, the only other news I've got, we all know that we're super excited for Fallout 4. Well, most of us. I know Matt isn't too big on it.
yeah.
Rob, are you big on Fallout? You're excited for Fallout, right?
I mean, I'm excited for the collector's edition, but
gotcha.
beyond that,
He's just buying it.
You got to buy that
the
collector's.
Pip-Boy.
You've got
Yep.
the Pip-Boy coming in. Huh?
yeah, of course I do.
Awesome. And they did come out and say those are limited, by the way. They're not
Yeah,
producing
that's
anymore.
what I was gonna say.
If you got in, you got it. Otherwise, no. So, Rob, are you going to do an unboxing video for that? Or are you going to keep it all nice, pristine in the box and not open it?
Oh no, I'll definitely do an unboxing,
Awesome.
especially since I know it's a limited one and it'll
Sure.
drive people crazy to watch me open it. I'll definitely do an
People
unboxing.
just hate you.
Yeah.
Well, the actual Fallout news I have, though, they talked to Bethesda and said, if I do everything in the game, how long will it take me to complete Fallout 4? And they said it will take you over 400 hours to do everything in that game.
That's believable.
That is quite a bit. So, Brant,
That's crazy.
Are you going to lock yourself in your basement and just play 400 hours straight?
Lock the door and throw away the keys.
Right.
That's how it's going to be done.
Oh man, I'm so
That's
pumped for
like
Fallout
The
4.
Witcher-esque. Man,
Yeah.
these AAA releases are getting larger and larger.
Yeah, and even with Witcher 3, they're always adding free DLC too, right? So I mean,
Yeah, I bet everything you'll have to pay for in Fallout 4, but you already
Probably.
have. I'm not going to buy anything extra with that because the base game alone is enough.
sure. Yeah, and although they did say they're going to add are the mods coming to PlayStation? I can't remember. I know they're adding them on Xbox and PC.
They
where you can
didn't
mod
rule
stuff.
them out.
Okay.
But they're definitely coming to Xbox One and PC first.
Cool. And that'll probably add a little bit of life to the game too. So we'll see.
Right, if they're free, yeah.
Sure. Well, with that, real quick, guys, before we get into our topic of the week, let's kind of talk about what we've been playing. Matt, what have you been up to, man?
Oh, a lot of stuff. I mean, I finished Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze finally.
Oh, cool.
Which that's funny because I bought that game when it literally came out. Was it last February or something like that? And didn't touch it for the first time until a few weeks ago.
Because I borrowed it from you and I beat it,
Yeah.
and then I gave it back to you. You just sat on it.
I just never in the mood to play it. But I finally beat that. I played some Master Chief Collection online today,
Oh, okay.
which it actually works smoothly for the first time ever.
Yeah, we noticed that the
super
other day
excited
when
about
you and
that.
I were playing Halo 3. Because
Yeah.
Rob, you were playing with us one time, and it was all screwed up because
Yeah.
our chats got split. The
Yeah.
whole thing was just messed up. Well, Matt and I went and played. What day was that? 2 days ago? 3 days ago?
Yeah, it was a few days ago. Yeah.
And it was perfect. The chat was perfect. It was all super smooth. There were no problems. We were blown away. Matt was like, "What's going on?" We were literally shocked.
It only took them 9 or 10 months, but hey, they
Right.
finally got it.
Right.
No, and then,
no one plays now.
Right? Exactly. I mean, it's sad. Everyone kind of gave
Actually,
up
a lot
on
of people still do. There was a lot of people online today.
Oh, okay.
When I saw it, good amount. But and then Assassin's Creed Black Flag got that for free with
Yep.
Games for Gold, and have already put probably 20 to 25 hours into it since Monday.
it.
So,
Wow. Well, you're enjoying it.
it's-
That's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm only halfway through the story, but I spend all my time going around and attacking ships and stealing them and
Sure.
and building up my ship. I'm only on memory 6 or 7.
Okay.
But I have a fully upgraded Jackdaw, so I'm pretty excited.
Cool. Awesome.
But yeah,
Well, Rob, what about you, man? What have you been gaming? I know you like to hop between stuff, so you probably have a pretty long list for us.
Yeah, this is actually gonna be one of my shorter lists. Yeah, got a lot of.
He only
personal
has
things.
20 games this time.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I'll go system by system because it'll be
Okay.
easier that way.
Cool.
So on the PlayStation 4, I finally finished. I've been playing The Vanishing of Ethan Carter and finished that.
Oh yeah. You
it's
reviewed
real-
that, right?
I reviewed it right for the workprint.com that James now writes for as well.
I've been
make
helping
sure you
out.
check it
That's
out.
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
theworkprint.com.
Booyah.
I played that, did the review. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as an experience more than I enjoyed it as a game. That doesn't take away from what it is. Actually, the game opens up and tells you that this is a narrative experience and that they're not going to hold your hand. And that's like a word for word quote.
Wow.
It's not a long game. You could beat it in one sitting.
Wow, that's really short.
It's very interesting. It's like, I mean, if it's a 4.5 hour sitting, but yeah. I beat it.
Because
As
we
long
have
as you're
that
wearing
time.
diapers and
Yeah.
you don't sleep.
I beat it in like 2 sittings, since I had to get it done
Okay.
for review.
Sure.
I mentioned earlier Rocket League. Rocket League is so
yeah.
good. I mean,
Gosh.
it is so much fun. It's just fast-paced soccer with cars. It's easy to pick up. There is some depth there, so if you really want to get into nuance, you can get really good at it. And there's some high-level play when you play online. But if you just want to mess around with your friends, it's a great time. And so I've been playing a lot of that. I think that's it on the PS4. On the Nintendo 3DS, actually, I turned mine back on and started playing Majora's Mask. I had started it when the game first came out, but I got pulled away from it, and so I hadn't even finished the first 3-day cycle. And so I started playing that this weekend. 'Cause like I said, I was away for the weekend, so I had some time. And I didn't realize, I was intimidated to play it. That's one reason I didn't want to play it. But I didn't realize that they hold your hand a little, where Navi like gives you clues and hints if you forget where you are and what you're doing. So I was playing that, really enjoying it. On the Xbox One, I gave So Many Me. I've been playing a little bit of that. That's one of the games with gold.
What do you think of that? Because I played it and I'm like, this is really boring. Like I played through like 2 or 3 stages. I was like, like I wasn't feeling it.
So it gets the farther you go, the harder it gets, and then the more interesting it gets, and the puzzle solving becomes more interesting, and having a time when you place when your Mii's down, while you're in the air. I like it. I don't love it, but I do like it, and it's nice when I just want to waste a little time. I finished Halo 2 finally. I'm trying to get through the collection again before Halo 5 comes out.
See, I'm doing the same thing. I'm almost through. We're how far are we, Matt? 2 chapters into 3?
No, 1. We made it halfway through 3.
That's right. We
then,
got halfway through a level, and then your connection went out.
Yeah, my
That's
connection
right.
went out. Yeah.
Wait, didn't we finish the first?
No, remember it was like the very end of the level, and that's when everything crashed. No,
Oh.
your friend had to leave. That's what it was. Your friend
and
joined
once
us,
he
and
left,
he had
it
to
kicked
leave.
us all
That's
out.
right.
See, that's
For Halo 3,
your
they didn't
fault.
have drop in, drop out.
see, that's funny because it gave me credit for completing that level.
Really?
Yeah.
It did for
Really?
us. That's funny.
So I'm about the same point as you guys. Then
Awesome.
I'm on.
Well, dude, you should
finished
hop into
episode.
Halo 3 with us then and just play through
Yeah,
it
we
with
need
us.
to play that.
I'm down whenever.
That would be awesome.
And
'Cause we're
then,
playing on the hardest difficulty, so.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I'm in. And then what else have I been playing? I've been playing. Oh, of course. I've been playing Smite.
Always gotta talk about that Smite love.
Smite is the best, and they just released like a huge update, and now they have ranked play. And
That's a MOBA, right?
yeah, it's a MOBA. Yeah.
Okay.
It controls like a third-person shooter, basically. So I compare it to like Gears of War or Uncharted, that control scheme mixed in with League of Legends.
That's interesting.
They're still, it's really
Don't
easy.
worry, Brant. I'm terrible at it.
He's not terrible. He's just real bad. So
Thank you for that.
no, it's one of those games that it's easy to pick up and start moving around and doing things, but it's got a steep learning curve.
Yes, it does.
And I've put in over 1,000 hours into League of Legends, so
That's
I had
crazy.
Wow.
I had an advantage.
And that was in
Smite
one
came around.
sitting, right?
Yeah, one sitting. Yeah. And then that's what I've been playing a lot of. I probably play like an hour or 2 every night, to be honest, of Smite.
Wow. Cool. Well, at least you're enjoying it, right?
Yeah, I love
Awesome.
that game.
Well, Brant, what? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first
Okay,
because
go for it,
I
sir.
probably have something to talk about with you with your game.
Uh-oh.
No, Rob, have you gotten a chance to play N++?
So I play N Plus on the 360,
Right.
and I actually have it now thanks to the backwards compatibility on the Xbox One.
Oh, awesome.
I haven't started up N++ yet because with the backwards compatibility, I realized that I had completed all the co-op levels in N+, but never completed the single player ones. So I tried doing that again, and then realized there's a reason I never completed them.
Why is that?
Because that game is brutally hard.
It's throw your controller hard at some points.
For sure. Throw your controller hard.
But the game is amazing. I've been it's like Rocket League for me again. Like, I'm just addicted to it. Like, I have to just keep playing. I don't know what it is, but it's platforming greatness. I mean, like you said, M+, it's a direct sequel to that. There's like over 2,000 levels. There's 64 different tracks you can listen to, and the soundtrack is amazing. The best dubstep techno you can listen to. I mean, I need to find a way to buy the soundtrack.
What keeps you playing with that game is that when you die, and you'll die often, you always feel like it's your fault. Like, you could have done better.
Sure.
So that's that drive
100%.
that gets you to doing it again.
Yeah, and it's really fast, really simple levels, straightforward. Like you said, it's a blast to play with people. That's where I have my fun with it. Online play, well, it doesn't have any online play, unfortunately. But yeah, local couch co-op, it's great. I've been playing this game called The Swindle. I don't know if you guys heard about that. It sort of reminds me of SteamWorld Dig in a way.
Oh, okay.
Only this is more. Okay. This has more of the thief-like elements, like stealth, stealing treasure. It's an interesting little game. I'm not very far into it, but I'm liking it so far. And then I also recently got The Escapist.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard of that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
all these came on a Wii U a while ago.
Yeah, just making their way to PS4. But yeah, this game, very obtuse. From the little bit I played, it's very deep, so I don't know how I'm going to put the time into it. But from what I played, it's really good.
Cool.
So another game to check out.
Awesome. So you just played a lot of smaller indie stuff lately then.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've been writing some reviews for these over at PlayStation Enthusiast, so I get the free games and
awesome. Cool.
and
cool.
Usually they're good, so that helps.
Well, I have a question. Have you written a bad review yet?
Yeah, there was one.
Which one was it?
I scored a 6.5 to Lost Dimension, which that's not terrible. But yeah, wasn't my taste.
Gotcha. Cool. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Was that it for you, sir?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, for me, I guess I know which one Brant wants to talk about, so I'll save that to the end. But one thing I've been doing, Splatoon. Like I said, Splatterfest coming up, so I've been playing that a lot. Well, even without Splatterfest, I've been playing a ton of Splatoon. Because matches are 3 minutes. So I have a little bit of time. I can hop on, play like 2-3 matches, and stop. So even on my lunch break, I can come home, play a couple matches of Splatoon, and then go back to work. So that's actually pretty cool. And I'm still enjoying that. That game is so good. They're always adding new levels. They're always adding new stuff. There's a major update coming where they're actually upping the level cap to 50. They're adding new stages. They're adding 40 new pieces of gear. They're adding, there's just so much stuff. This game just keeps on giving, and it's all free. And I absolutely love Splatoon. My Splatoon is like your guys' Rocket League. Like, I just can't get enough of this game.
Or Smite.
Or Smite. That's right. Or Smite. I don't think I put 1,000 hours in, but I put quite a few. But
1,000 hours?
That's what. No, I said I haven't put in 1,000 hours because that's
I thought you meant like Rob put in 1,000.
No, he put 1,000 hours into
League
of Legends. He just said.
Yeah, that was over like 4 years.
Well, still, that's a lot. I haven't done that much.
Don't judge me, James. You bring me on here to the show, and then you judge me.
Well, you're really not gonna like this next bit of news because I just played through Life is Strange, Chapter 4, which of all the chapters, it's by far the weakest. I'm actually writing a review for it. I've actually been writing the chapter by chapter reviews over, don't tell Rob, over at the Digital Nerd Advocate site. I've been doing that for a while since those first came out. But
you're such a review floozy.
Right. But I mean, I really like that series. Like, it's really good. It's one of those episodic games. I've really enjoyed it all the way through. Chapter 4 was good. It had some awesome story points that were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But then there were other parts about it where the game just, the momentum of the game just stopped. Like, they made some horrible choices on, at the beginning, kind of where to take the story, and then they had these parts where you had to solve these little mysteries, but it was like you were stuck at a table trying to solve this until you could move on, and there was just a lot of weird stuff in it that just killed the momentum. But it's still a really good series. If you haven't played Life is Strange, check it out. It's really good.
See now the whole basically Tales of the Borderlands, how you said the other week that you didn't like how it was pretty much all cinematic. Now it's not looking so bad now, is it?
Well, no. I mean, that's fine. And this game has a lot of cinematic stuff in it. Well, actually, this game doesn't have any quick time events. This is pretty much an old school point and click game, which is totally different than how Telltale does their stuff. I mean, you're walking around. I mean, obviously you don't have to click something and say use. I mean, you go over it and the button prompt shows up and you click it. But it's a good game though. I really like it a lot. The other thing I purchased recently, which is Brant's fault. I got my hands on Dark Souls 2. They had
I did you a favor, sir.
They had a sale for it on Gold, so I got it for like $30. And what happened? I had no idea what I was doing. I hopped in. I've never played a Souls game before. I actually put a Let's Play, like first impressions, up on our YouTube page. The quality's not that great because the only way I can record is through Twitch. So sorry about that.
I wasn't able to watch it.
Really?
I didn't see it. Didn't come up on my YouTube.
Huh. Well, yeah, I put that up a few days ago. But what happened? I got about 4 hours into it. And after about 4.5 hours, I'm like, it clicked. I got the mechanics. I understood what I was doing. There's still a lot I have to learn. But what I did today, I went back and made a new character. I made a brand new character, started from scratch. It took me like maybe an hour and a half to get to where I was before. It took me 4 hours to get to. I made it like really far. I wasn't dying. I was doing really good. Because before I was playing, I just kept getting these bottlenecks because I didn't know how to do things. I didn't know how to equip things in my inventory. I didn't know what I was supposed to do with like.
You would take on the giant ogre that you're not supposed to mess with.
Yeah, which is really funny. I actually took him down though too, which is hilarious. I mean, it took me a little while, but I took him down. Yeah. But and now that I know what I'm doing, this game, because I was playing it more offensively, I was just going at guys, attacking, just going at them. You can't do that. This game is very defensive. You have to just sort of hold your shield out, wait for them to attack, look at their pattern, and then attack a little bit at a time, just kind of slowly chip them away. And honestly, I'm really enjoying it. I like it a lot. I know, Rob, you mentioned on a previous show that you were on, you played Dark Souls and you got lost a lot, and I seem to be having the same problem. Even though I know where I'm going, it's so easy to get lost because a lot of stuff looks the same. And the only other thing that when you're going to die automatically is if like you have 3 guys wake up and attack you at the same time, you just know you're screwed. Because I texted Brant earlier today. I'm like, is there any way to bank your souls? Because I had like 3,400 souls and I died. And I was like, oh, like it was just
wait until you get like 10,000, 20,000.
Right. Well, but now I'm doing something. I'm doing something a little bit smarter now. I'll get like 2,000, 2,500, somewhere around their souls. I'll run back to my bonfire. I'll teleport to where the upgrade lady is, back to the main place. I'll upgrade my strength or my endurance or whatever. Then I'll teleport back. So I'm slowly building my character. I'm kind of grinding right now to kind of build my character up. Although one thing I found, if you're in an area and you beat the same enemy so many times, they just stop showing up.
Right.
But I'm finally at a point now where I feel like I'm strong enough and I kind of know what I'm doing. I know, because another problem, you get these little life stones, right? And you have like 10 of them or 14 of them or something. You have like a really good amount of them at the beginning. And the first time I was playing, I was just eating them like M&Ms, man. I was just using them like crazy. And so I got to a
like
point
those
where
blood vials, yeah.
Yeah, and so I got to a point where I couldn't, like, because what happens in this game, if you don't know about Dark Souls 2, when you die, you come back, but you're penalized. Your health goes down a little bit.
You're hollowed.
Yeah, you're hollowed. And so once you die so many times, your health bar only fills up to 50%. That's it. And that's all you can do.
Yeah, you really need to get that item that reduces that. Right. So instead of at 50% health at the apex, you're at 75%.
See, and that would be awesome. That would be awesome. If I could find that would be awesome. So I mean,
what you should do.
Yeah.
For your case, I would play with like a wiki guide open, like on your phone or tablet or something that's right beside you, and just follow that.
Sure.
And
that's what I actually started doing, because I found a shortcut because of that and some other things, and so it's really helping out a lot. I'm actually right at the tail end of the Fallen Giant forest place. I'm like right there. Because
so you haven't fought your first boss yet?
No, I haven't. I'm very, very close though. But honestly, like I said, I put 4 hours in before, and now I put maybe 2 hours in, and I'm almost to the boss already. So, because I was just kind of curious how close I was, so I looked at the guide and kind of scrolled ahead, and I'm like right there. So I'm really enjoying it, and it's taken me a lot to learn.
You got the flame sword.
No.
I don't know if
I have no idea what that
is. That's a sword that you could use throughout the whole game.
Okay.
I'll just have to tell you sometime.
Yeah, that would be helpful, because like I said, this is I'm like jumping to a wiki, or I'm texting you, or I'm texting another friend who's played it, and I'm like, what do I do? Because there's so many things that I just like. Honestly, I didn't, because I know you get that vial, right, that you can drink out of. It fills up at each
Estus
bonfire.
flask.
Yeah,
and
and
if you
I
collect
didn't know how to
fragments-
equip
yeah.
it to my items, and so I had it. I didn't know how to use it, and that's why I was using up all those little life things. And I figured that out. I found out how you can, hold 2 weapons at a time. Like I've learned over time how to do stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just one of these games where it's just a learning experience. And honestly, just going like an inch farther, you feel like you've done so much.
Yeah, and that's the main. I mean, once you get it, like I think you have,
Yeah.
James, it
Yeah.
just opens up.
It just takes a
possibilities.
long time to click because there's just so many little intricate things you need to know about going in. And if you don't, unless you have someone helping you, you're not gonna have a good time.
A lot of items that you don't know what to do with.
Exactly.
Once you learn what they are, then you're like, oh, okay, that's what I'm supposed to use it for. But yeah, in your instance, I think you're doing a good job with using the wiki. Like
Yeah.
when I played all the Souls games, I would just play on my own.
Sure.
Then once I beat it, New Game Plus, I would go back with the wiki. I'm like, man, I missed so much.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and I didn't even know about shortcuts. I mean, there's just so many little things in the game that I didn't even know were there. And like, I've got all these items in my bag, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with them. They're just sitting there.
yeah,
So,
yeah, you'll get later where you can sell all that junk that you
Yeah.
don't use for Souls, which is nice. But
And also, I saw that they take souls and they put them in your inventory. And so I had all these souls like built up my inventory of like, it says like large souls. I've got 5 or whatever. And I didn't know I had to go in there and hit use to actually collect them.
yeah,
So there's like a lot of little strange choices like that I had no idea about.
yeah, and just Dark Souls 101. Just don't spend your boss souls whenever you beat the
So are boss
fallen
souls
giant.
different from regular souls?
Yeah, they're different. You can actually, there'll be a vendor that you can run into later on that'll actually, you can give those to him to get like these mystical weapons that
Oh, okay.
are really awesome. So
Cool.
keep those around. But
Okay. So as you guys hear, Brant is my guide on this journey.
this journey
But
into darkness.
I do have another Let's Play I've recorded. I've got going up. Kind of like my second impression video where I'm back at roughly the same area, but I get a lot farther. I do a lot better because on my first Let's Play, I just got stuck at that giant troll guy and I kept dying over and over and over again. And so this time I get past him pretty quick and move on. And I like, it's a much better viewing. It's not nearly as boring.
you have a semblance of knowing
Right.
what to do.
I kind of know what I'm doing. So,
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this kind of what we talked about so far, what we've been playing. But now we're going to get into our topic of the week, our summer game series with Assassin's Creed. So hit it, Josh.
Oh my gosh, I don't know the songs. Let Rob help me.
Just make something up, sir.
What's dun 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 dun.
That's the
Just
Pirates
take
of the Caribbean
I
song.
know. Based off of Assassin's Creed 4.
Right. Well, that
That's
works.
perfect. That's perfect.
See Johnny Depp swinging in. Oh, dude, that's hilarious. Well, real quick, what we're going to do, kind of like what we've done in our past game series, we're just going to go down the line of the games as they released. And as you guys, if you have any memories or anything you'd like to talk about on a certain game, just let me know. So I'm kind of going to go down by the year they're released and kind of pick out some key points from the game. In 2007 is when the first Assassin's Creed came out. In this game, with the Assassin's Creed games, each one's kind of set in their own time period, plus the present day. And in this game, the first game, it was during the Third Crusade. And in this game, you were playing as a man by the name of Desmond Miles. And he was kind of like...
In the present.
Yeah, in the present. And you were kind of, captured by a group called Abstergo. And what they did, they made this machine called the Animus. And what it is, they set you in this machine, and if you have like an assassin in your bloodline, you can actually play through their history because they're in your blood. Like the memories are stored in your blood. So what it does, this Animus, it kind of lets you go back through history. So with this game, it kind of opens up all these possibilities of time periods, different people you can be. And in the first game, you're the assassin Altair. And so with him, you are, like I said, fighting to the Third Crusade. And it happens in Jerusalem and Damascus. Like those are the main areas you're fighting in. and kind of taking place. And actually, a lot of games since the first Assassin's Creed is kind of taken that game style of kind of like parkour and climbing up buildings. And because I mean, if you look at like Batman, he doesn't parkour exactly, but I mean, you kind of see the influence on that, especially with the combat. I mean, what do you think, Brant? I mean, can you kind of see the similarities there?
Oh yeah, I remember at the time they were hyping this as like the most revolutionary game for your new console, and
Right.
pretty much was. I mean, just large open environments, lots of people going around. For that game, I remember when I got it, I wish there was more you could do like within the environment. Like
Sure.
you could only attack at certain times, and it didn't really feel as open as they let on to be.
Well, games never are.
Yeah, but yeah, I really like the first one and how they did the assassination attempts. They made it feel like more personal than
Sure.
later entries.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's a good game. I mean, I don't think it would hold up now.
Yeah. And that's what I actually got later on PS3. I got it when it was cheaper to play through the first Assassin's Creed because I didn't really have a lot of interest in it when it was first announced. And the main game, pretty much what it was about, like I said, you're using this animus to go back in time because there's this fight going on between the Assassins and the Templars. And pretty much in the first game, you find out they're going after what's called a piece of Eden. And so the Templars want to get this so they can have all this power. And pretty much what's going on, they try to say if you get all the pieces, it's gonna mean the end of the world, right? Because they said the world was gonna end in 2012. Like I remember that was like the big hook of the game.
Yeah, because that was.
What was
thing.
it? The last Desmond game came out after what was supposed to be the end of the world.
No, I think it was that year. 'Cause
Well, it was the
December...
year, but it was supposed to happen in October. It came out in December, and the end of the world was supposed to be October 2012.
No, the end of the world was supposed to be December.
Oh, was it? I thought it was October.
Yeah, and the game came out in October. Okay. No, it was reversed.
Okay. Because I got in my notes that I took offline, they said it was supposed to be October 31st. Okay.
Yeah, no.
But, yeah, so that's pretty much, the main series of the game. Oh, by the way, Rob, for you, do you remember who was the voice of Lucy?
Yeah, it's
Veronica Mars
Veronica
herself?
Mars, yes, it's
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell. Thank you. I knew it was Kristen, but for some reason I had in my head Kristen Stewart, which is not even close to be right. But I just saw that trailer for that new movie with her and Jesse Eisenberg. So that's why her name was in my head.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I love the first Assassin's Creed.
Sure.
I mean, Brand talked about it earlier. In the first one, it had more of you had to actually stalk your prey. You had to learn information.
Yeah.
There was a little bit more setup to each of these. It was almost like when you play some of these heist games and you got to, get everything in order with the prep.
Sure.
That's how the first Assassin's Creed was. And although I thought Altair was also a pretty interesting character.
Yeah.
I really like the things they were doing with the present day, with the whole, the Templars being in charge of this huge multi-million-dollar company in Abstergo. And the different, they start to introduce the bleeding effect of being in the Animus, where, Desmond was just a bartender before he got kidnapped. And then all of a sudden, some of these parkour abilities that he was getting in the game were starting to transfer over to modern day and stuff like that, and some of these combat abilities.
Sure.
And like you said, it is a precursor to the combat you see in the Arkham games with the striking with one button, waiting for them to about to strike to counter with a Y.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I agree. It doesn't hold up quite as well as some of the other games in the series.
Sure.
But it was still, I know for a fact that it was one of those games that I had a friend of mine come over and he played a little bit of it and he went out and bought a 360 so that he could keep playing the game.
Yeah,
that was the big thing.
Yeah. That game, and actually speaking of the modern day stuff, Rob, did you like the modern day stuff that they put in there? Because I know some people say they can play in this. I just want to play in that one time period. I don't want to be split across two time periods. Do you like how they've been doing that? Because every game has done that, where it's modern day and some point in history.
Right. So maybe I'm an outlier in this, but I thought the most interesting thing was what they were kind of setting up with the modern day, the promise that they seemed to hint towards and where the series was going.
Sure.
I think later on, and we'll get to it,
Yep.
what happens in modern day, but I think that the franchise itself became too big and they realized that they had a cohesive storyline, I think, in mind, and then that wasn't possible if they were going to continue, releasing games every year.
Sure.
And so I up to a certain point, I thought the modern day was the most interesting part of those games. I mean, I really enjoyed the going in the past and the alternate history, but I really liked what they were promising, at least the potential that the modern day stuff had.
Well, and Matt, what about you? I mean, you're a history guy, and I know they take real events in history. I mean, they kind of twist them a little bit, but they try to keep it within kind of a reality. What do you think about that? I mean, do you like the modern day stuff, and what do you think about like the history part of it?
I mean, I'm right there with Rob, actually. I like the modern day stuff up to the point that we'll talk about later. I thought there was a point where it just got really ridiculous. And playing Black Flag recently, I kind of like where they're going with it now a little bit. It seems a little more subtle. But, I mean, the history is cool. They do pretty well with the setting. They do very well with the setting and with the historical figures. The actual historical events sometimes aren't always, told in the most accurate way, but of course they got to change it a little bit to make it fit. I actually really loved that original Assassin's Creed. I thought it was great. The one thing I remember about that game that blew me away was like any video game you can ever possibly think of over the last, so many decades. You're in these worlds or you're traveling through a jungle or you're in a city and it's literally just you and enemies. There's never like people there.
Sure.
And realistically there would be, especially in a lot of settings and games that we play. But that was the first game I remember like walking through a city that was huge and seeing like people everywhere. Now a lot of them were just like copies of others and there wasn't a lot of variation, but like, and then different things like you could have, I don't know if they were like dancers or where they are, or like priests walking through and you could actually hide in the group of the priests and sneak up on your prey that way. Like there was a lot of really cool elements they brought in. And I normally hate stealth games. Like I've never played, Josh, what's that one you love? That where you can beat the whole game in stealth and not kill anybody, but you can also
Dishonored.
Like, yeah, never played that. Never had a desire to. Like those kind of games, even though they're huge, I never got into Metal Gear Solid or anything. But Assassin's Creed was the one that like it is stealth oriented, and you're smarter to be that way. But you can also be just kind of the person who runs out and attacks the enemy as however you please. Sure. And it didn't have a lot of variety. Actually, that's the one downside of the original one. Right. Is kind of like Josh and Rob said, really when you're doing a mission, you only have like one option of how you do it. Whereas now they've improved upon that. Like we'll get to that later, but it's definitely changed since then. But it was a great start to the series, actually, I think.
Sure. And honestly, right now between Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2, it was the longest break between Assassin's Creed games, because since Assassin's Creed 2, they have been annualized. So every single year we get an Assassin's Creed game. And that's for the good or the bad, for better or worse, or that's what we're getting.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish they would split it off. I know they have two separate teams now, so one team handles 1 year, and the other team handles the other year. But it'd be nice if they kind of had like maybe at least a year break in there, because, well, I'll talk about later, kind of burnout happens after a while. But in 2009 is when Assassin's Creed 2 hit. This one actually started a trilogy. So, because there are numbered titles, but this one kind of started a trilogy, the Ezio trilogy, because that who your assassin was in this game. And this actually took place during the Renaissance. It was the 15th century, and you're mostly in Florence and Venice. Like those were the two main places you were working in, or what do you want to call it? Your main setting. And with this game in the modern day, the game pretty much opened right at the end of the first game, and Lucy kind of breaks Desmond out of Abstergo, and they're kind of going to go on this own little mission, which actually, like you guys were saying, the modern day stuff with Desmond was actually really interesting and really cool, because you found out that Lucy, she was saying she was a Templar, but she was actually a mole, so which was pretty cool. And she has her own team, and they took off together, and they're trying to find these pieces of Eden before the Templars do, and that was actually really cool. And the relationship they were building between this team, that was actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
But and with this game, I mean, they kind of built on what made the first game good, and they made it better. A lot of people see Assassin's Creed 2 as their favorite Assassin's Creed game. For me, I actually like Brotherhood the best. I mean, some people think that's crazy, but Assassin's Creed 2 is most people's favorite game. And they did a lot of cool things in it. The big update for Assassin's Creed 2, every game they make the parkour and the running a little bit smoother, the combat a little bit better. But in this one, the big addition you have this little villa you could upgrade. So you could like
Yeah.
upgrade your stuff. And the guy that ran it was your Uncle Mario. If you guys remember, he came out, he goes, "It's a me, Mario."
Yeah.
But yeah, he had this villa and you could actually upgrade it. So you could, make it better, and they could bring in more money, which you could use to buy better gear. And it was just this whole aspect of the game that they added. That was like the big addition to this one. And this was also the one where the story kind of got what do you say, more sci-fi, kind of strange a little bit.
Oh yeah, at the
Because
end.
in this one,
Yeah.
you're searching for the piece of Eden again. This game actually, Ezio, I don't know if you guys agree, but I felt like Ezio was the most interesting character in an Assassin's Creed game. Like just his story. His story started off kind of like a revenge story because the Templars killed his father and his brothers. If you remember, that's kind of like how the game kicked off. He kind of escaped with his mom and his sister, and from there it kind of grew. But just the changes he went through, because from the beginning you played as Ezio when he was younger. I can't remember. Is this the one where you actually started off as a baby?
No, you were like a teenager, and well, it might have shown the scene with him as a baby, but you don't actually play until you're a teenager, and then your brother like gets in a fist fight with
Gotcha.
another family, and you beat him up, and then you sneak into that girl's room, and then you sneak out in the morning, and the parents get mad. I remember that.
But yeah, they just made him this fun character. You just get to see him mature over this trilogy. Oh, another cool thing about this one, if you guys remember, the guy that updated your gear, it was Leonardo da Vinci. Because we all know he worked for the Assassins, obviously. That's in the history books right now.
Oh yeah.
The other thing that this game taught us, you're looking for the pieces of Eden. In this game, they were looking for the apple. Like that was the piece of Eden you were looking for. And
I like how actually in the modern day too, they moved to the location, that actual villa.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the game, you went to that actual villa and you were kind of researching in that area as you went back and learned Ezio's story. And wasn't the purpose of it, of choosing Ezio, because like it went through his whole development as an assassin, and so the bleeding effect would train Desmond how to be an assassin?
And that's the one thing where I don't know about you guys, but I felt like the setup was they were going to end it with a modern day Assassin's Creed, and you played through Desmond as the whole game.
Right,
Did everyone else see that coming?
Yeah, that's exactly. Especially since you have, at that point, Nolan North, who is, besides Troy Baker, is the most worked voice actor in video games.
Right.
And so he was playing the voice as Desmond. And I thought for sure that they were going to go modern day. And that's what I was most excited about, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Being able to parkour across a giant city. Like, think about, like, New York City running from building to building, or even, like, Chicago or something like that. Or even, like, along the inside of skyscrapers or along the outside of skyscrapers, stuff like that. Like, I was really, really excited about the possibilities. And they had segments in that game where you're running around the space you're in, the villa, and you're parkouring in modern day, and it felt great, and it looked good too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that later, but like Desmond's end is kind of disappointing. But in this game, sorry, go ahead, Matt. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the end of this one is bad too, or is it the end of Brotherhood?
No, Brotherhood.
Where something happens to the other.
Yeah,
character?
yes,
Okay,
that one. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Hated that.
But in this one, the story kind of goes weird, because at the end of this game, you get the apple, and the other piece of Eden you find was actually with the Pope. It was his staff. So apparently, the Pope was a Templar, and he had this, this piece of Eden in his staff. And you use this staff and the apple, you kind of put them together, and it opens up this like, what do you call it, a tomb or a door to like this crypt. And you go down there, and there's this hologram of like this lady. And the weird thing is, she keeps calling you Desmond. So she was actually like talking. She knew Desmond was there, which is like just crazy mind blowing. And she was talking to Desmond through Ezio. And she pretty much came out, and they said that they were like there before humanity, and this great disaster wiped them out. And now they're here to kind of stop it from happening again. And so they're going to work with Desmond to kind of like, change the future pretty much. And so
to this stuff.
Exactly. Like they're like these aliens, and they're like supposed to be creators of humanity. Like the whole thing was just very bizarre.
That's the worst part of the games for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't so much aliens so much as like they were setting them up as kind of gods in a way. Like kind of gods meets aliens, like at least gods in the way that our modern scientific world wants to see them. But and that's kind of the way they set them up. And It was just
Too much extraneous things to worry about
Right,
with it.
right.
See, I don't think it was that weird, to be honest. And this isn't a concept that is unique to Assassin's Creed. I mean,
Sure.
think about the Halo franchise. We
Yeah.
get the Forerunners, and we
Yeah.
talk of the Forerunners, and now we get to talk of
and before them
Prometheans.
was the yeah.
And so, at that part didn't bother me at all. And it also gives context to why they're called Pieces of Eden.
Sure.
And so, going with the biblical reference of the Garden of Eden and stuff like that. So I mean, I enjoyed it. Where that ends up going, like I said, we'll talk about later. But
Right.
that part
No.
didn't bother me at all.
Sure.
I actually did like in 2. Some of my favorite parts about 2 were some of the buildings they did in the cities. I
Okay.
thought were fantastic. Some of the buildings in Florence were like just like they really are. And actually, we my wife and I went to Disney World a few weeks ago, and in the Italy area in Epcot, they have one of those buildings. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like the one that you first at the beginning of 2, you have to like run to the top of it to try and save your dad who's in jail or whatever, and like that building is there, and it looks like just like it. And it was crazy. And Rome, like the way they did I guess that was in Brotherhood too, but the way they did the Vatican City area and stuff, like they were just amazing. And then also I went around that game and found every single Animus secret thing, and unlocked that video where it showed like Adam and Eve breaking out of that building, and they were running out and getting chased by like all those creatures. And so it played into the modern day story of how like that was their beginnings, or that's humanity's beginning and stuff.
The glyphs.
But,
all the glyphs.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, the
buildings,
glyphs. Yeah, all the glyphs. I found all of those
Now that-
Same.
and stuff.
I was like, that's one thing with the Assassin's Creed game that kind of blown way out of proportion, though. Find the glyphs, find
Yeah,
every
all the
feather,
collectibles.
find all the
Yeah,
treasures.
yeah.
Comes a
Just-
collect-a-thon.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's the part
sure.
that's got crazy.
And Brant, what about you? Any like memorable moments from Assassin's Creed 2 for you?
When you said Leonardo
Da
Da
Vinci.
Vinci,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying Leonardo DiCaprio. For some reason. I don't know why that stuck out.
He was in Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah, he'll
Oh,
win an
dude,
Oscar
that's
one of
hilarious.
these days. But yeah, going back to Assassin's Creed 2, I enjoyed the game, but it was actually one of the low points for me in this series.
Okay. That's interesting.
Can we kick him off the podcast now?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know.
Right.
Just where I don't find Ezio very. I mean, he's a lot of people view him as the best protagonist, but
Yeah.
I didn't really like the story
Boo.
that much. And I didn't. When I was getting to the end of the game, I was just like, I just want this to end. Like,
Sure.
I forced myself to just get through it. I know you guys like the modern day stuff, but in that game, it just became too much for me. So
Okay.
that's where I
Interesting.
stand with
Sure.
it. I mean, it's a good game, but
Yeah. See, for me, like Assassin's Creed, especially 2 and Brotherhood, like those were the games I played during college. Like that's what, like when I have an exam or whatever and I need just to relax, I could just kind of turn my mind off and just run around the city and collect feathers or find jumping off points, whatever. And it was just something I could do that kind of helped me unwind. And so for me, I've got this connection to like, especially Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. Revelations, not so much. But Brotherhood,
Matt, I just want to say that, your point on how the architecture is, though, that was the high point for that game, though. It was awesome. How
Yeah, pretty much every city you go to is fantastically created as far as
Yeah,
representing
it was just
Renaissance
like,
Italy. And
like being there in that time. Exactly.
yeah.
yeah, and I loved how actually what they did that I thought was pretty cool, although it's starting to get pretty old now, was the first one where they trained you how to do all the new things, like how to hire, I guess it was, prostitutes and like so that you could hide in their group and stuff. They trained you how to do that through story-like missions. And so you learned how to play the game while just continuing the story. Whereas in the first one, it was like, run in this arena and learn how to fight this way. And there was definite improvements. The one thing, and they didn't, it was like the first game was all about just being an assassin, but having to go through stalking your prey. The second one was about more of a story and building on that. The third one, which you'll get into, that was cool where they added some of those features, which we'll talk about in a second. But it's like they added something big each time.
Sure, and I feel like with annualizing Assassin's Creed, though, when they did improvements for each game, they started becoming more minor.
Yeah,
because
they're more
when
minimal after the
right
second
when you
one,
get to
probably.
Brotherhood, which is kind of like Assassin's Creed 2 Part 2. I mean, they improved the parkour and they improved the fighting mechanics, things like that. And and this one was set in Rome. You're still Ezio, but what they did in this one, they brought in the Brotherhood mechanic. So in this one, you could save citizens, and you could hire them on as assassins and have them do missions for you. I mean, that was actually done in real time. So if it says it's going to take 4 hours or whatever, 4 hours later they'd be done, and either they'd complete or die or whatever would happen. So that was like the big part of this game. The other one that they did, instead of a villa, you actually upgraded like a whole city, if I remember right. Like you just started upgrading, because what you had to do in this one, you had to fight these, they're called the Borgia Towers, right? And you had to take control of it. And after you took control of it, it would open up that part of the city, and you could upgrade that part of the city individually. So they took that idea of the villa, and they really expanded on it.
Well, you were buying property, and you were investing in property, and then you were actually getting, when you bought stores, fronts, and stuff like that, you were getting money back to then spend on armor, equipment, and stuff like that. I agree with you. You said it earlier. Brotherhood's the best one in the series.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, it takes everything that 2 did right and does it better, and then adding in the Brotherhood mechanic, which besides recruiting them and then sending them off on their own missions, you could also at the press of a button have one come in and just like from nowhere dive down and assassinate an enemy. And so that was so satisfying. I'm just walking down the street straight up to guys and then calling in, and you would get to level it up and call in more than just one at a time. And just there'd be an enemy in front of me, I would just call one in, out of nowhere an assassin comes and takes them out, and then walk up, another enemy out of nowhere. And so
yeah, I'm kind of sad they took out that mechanic, at least for Black Flag. I don't know if it's in Unity or anything, but yeah, that I agree mostly with Rob. I thought gameplay wise it was the best Assassin's Creed. I thought the historical story with Ezio was weak compared to 2. I like the I can't say I like the modern day story because the end was so.
Well, do we want to spoil it? I mean, it came out in 2010. I think we can talk about it.
Go for it.
Sure. Pretty much what happened in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. You're looking for that piece of Eden, and at the end of the game, you actually do find it.
In modern day.
Right, in modern day. And so Desmond finds it, and when he finds it, it's underneath the Colosseum in Rome, because Assassin's Creed Brotherhood all takes place in Rome in this one. He goes underground, he finds it, and when he touches it, he gets possessed by one of those alien god people. This one's named Lucy, or not, what was her name? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it was Lucy, or Juno.
That's right. And pretty much what happened, this alien took over, and you kill Lucy because you were possessed by Juno, and so she was like a main character through the series, and you're getting connection with her, and that's how the game ends. It does not end on a happy note. It ends on this major cliffhanger.
No. Now, actually, in retrospect, I'm literally just thinking about it now. I think I understand why they did that, considering what happens at the end of 3, and I feel like the choice that Desmond had to make, if Lucy would have still been there, he may have not made the choice he did, so maybe that's why she made him kill her.
Or Kristen Bell is too expensive to have in a game every single
that's
year.
True.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, that could be true too. But do you think? I'm kind of wondering, why did they have Desmond kill her? Couldn't they have one of the people chasing them kill her? I mean, do you think they did that just for shock factor?
Yeah, it's for shock, but it's also not earned. Like, there's
so
it's
just
really
really strange. Yeah, they're like, oh, we're gonna possess him and kill her. It's like, what?
And then it totally wrecked the modern day story for the next Assassin's Creed, which was by far the worst. But like,
the next one's not the worst. The one after is the worst, but we'll get to that.
Sure.
Really?
Yeah, Revelations is not the worst.
We'll have some debates there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, Brant, because you said before, Assassin's Creed 2, you felt like it was getting too big, it was getting out of control. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was even bigger. I mean, did you enjoy playing through Brotherhood at all?
No, I never played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or the one that came after
Revelations. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Because you didn't like
2,
Ezio.
I was burnt out.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
I was just burnt out from it. I didn't get around to it until about Assassin's Creed 3.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yep.
Cool. Well, like you guys were saying, 2011, so the next year, Assassin's Creed Revelation came out, and this capped off the Ezio story. I know they actually came up with a collector's pack a while ago called the Ezio Trilogy, and it was like 2 Brotherhood and Revelations together.
Right.
Yeah. They had a movie that came out.
Oh,
with
yeah,
it when
they
Ezio
did.
was like older.
That's right.
I watched that.
That's right. They made like an internet movie, yeah. And this one
it's good. Assassin's Creed Embers.
It was pretty good.
It was all done on like green screen, like all the backgrounds were hand drawn and stuff, right? If I remember right, something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean,
it actually looked
kind of like we forgot to say before too, they actually had a story about Ezio's
Oh,
father
yeah.
that was like a mini series. But yeah, those
And
are
one thing with
the way they
Assassin's
did
Creed
that.
we're not talking about today, though, they've done so many spin-offs. They've done comic books. They've done, like I said, they're doing these little mini movies. They've done cell phone games, and they've done the downloadable one about China that just came out. They've done so many things to kind of expand the universe.
Yeah.
But with Assassin's Creed Revelation, it was the final chapter of Ezio. This one took place in Constantinople. That's where this one happened. And pretty much in this one, you're looking for a library. You're looking for Altair's library, and the story was the whole thing about this game just felt so weak. You had to find 5 keys to unlock this library because you just knew there was something important down there because it was Altair's library. You thought it would give you more answers to finding these pieces of Eden. So that was the Assassins part of the game. The main part of the game, the modern day, it almost wasn't there because you were Desmond, but you were because you got taken over by the alien god in the last one, and this one your brain was messed up, and so you were stuck in the Animus, and so you were trying to get your consciousness back by playing through this virtual reality place inside the Animus, and it was first person, wasn't it? If I remember right.
Yeah,
The whole thing was screwed up.
Well, I feel like actually, now that I think about it, how Rob said this wasn't the worst, there actually were some good things about it. It was screwed up, but when you actually did succeed, you learned a lot about Desmond's personal history and how he actually grew up as a little boy, where the assassins lived and stuff, and that added a lot more to the story. And then the one thing I did like about the historical side was when Ezio had a flashback to an Altair memory.
Yeah.
That part was cool. That where they did that. The tower defense
Exactly.
just ruined
it
for me. That was horrible.
Because that's sort of what they added in this one. What they did in this one, they added a couple other mechanics, you could actually use material. They gave you materials now. You could build weapons, build bombs, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
That was the other thing. But the one thing on this game, this was the Assassin's Creed game. Everybody has that one Assassin's Creed game where you get burned out. For Josh, it was pretty early in the series with Assassin's Creed 2. For me, it was Revelations because, they expanded even farther. You had to collect more things. And for me, I just didn't click with the story, and they added this tower defense missions. It's just, it had nothing to do with anything they've done in Assassin's Creed before, and they don't have it back anymore in the future, so you kind of know, I'm assuming most people complained about it.
Right.
Because it just killed the momentum of the game, and you had to do it over and over and over again to capture you captured the towers, but you had to protect them, and the only way you could protect them after you captured them was to do these little tower defense games.
Yeah, it was horrible.
And
bad mechanics.
Sure, go ahead, Rob.
I must say that even though, like I said, I don't think this is the worst one, I did have some of that burnout effect. This game is one that I picked up. I didn't pick it up at launch, and then I played it later on, and I got about halfway through. And like I said, I think Ezio is the most interesting character. I don't think that this is the worst game, not even close. But I did get burnt out. So it's the only game in the Assassin's Creed franchise that I've started that I did not finish all the way through. I only got about halfway through.
Okay.
And that's mostly due to the fact that I started it late because of that burnout effect, and then 3 was right around the corner, and I was just like, you know what, at this point I'll just hold off and wait.
Got it. And actually,
sense.
Rob, one thing I will say about all the Assassin's Creed games, they all have these awesome statues with their collector's editions. No matter which game it is, they have the best statues. I'm not a big collector's edition guy, but I'm assuming you have all the collector's editions, right?
Unfortunately, I don't have all of them. I do have the one that came in Brotherhood, which was like a Jack in the Box, and depending on where you got is what popped out of the Jack in the Box.
Huh.
And then I don't have Revelations, but I do have 3. I do have Black Flag, and I do have Unity.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, real quick, just to tie up the Revelation story, like I said, spoilers real quick for you guys, but it was 2011. You had time. The way they ended Desmond's story, we all wanted to see Desmond as a modern-day assassin. We thought this is where it's leading up to. It has to be.
That's not Revelations.
Well, no. I thought Revelations was the end of the...
No.
It ended in 3.
No.
Ended in 3.
Right. Yeah, 3 was the last one.
Well, Revelations is the one where...
He gets out of the coma.
Yes, he gets out of the coma.
All he did was get out of the coma.
And you find out that there is a massive solar flare. I think that's what they said was going to kill the Earth, right?
Yes.
No, Oh, did they find out about that? I thought they didn't find out about that till at the end of 3.
I thought that was in Revelations because beforehand I went ahead and wikied everything. and pretty much what it said.
Might be.
This time a holographic figure named Jupiter came and kind of explained what killed humanity before, and it was a solar flare. And they tried to stop it, but it failed. And that's pretty much what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop this solar flare.
Right.
I'm assuming with the pieces of Eden, right? If I remember.
Well, no. I thought the piece. Well, I think it was something like that. Like they needed the pieces of Eden to. We'll talk about later. Like unlock a certain thing in this area in America. But originally, the Templars just wanted the pieces of Eden so they could control all of humanity and like dominate.
Sure. One thing I forgot to mention: Assassin's Creed Brotherhood started Assassin's Creed multiplayer. Now, did you guys play multiplayer at all online? Because I actually really enjoyed it. I thought this is not going to work. I loved, at least in Brotherhood, I loved the multiplayer. It was awesome. Like, you think, how could you do Assassin's Creed multiplayer? But what they did, it was supposed to be employees of Abstergo testing out these new systems to see if they could hop inside other people's bloodlines without having their bloodline. And it was actually really cool. Like, they did like a little story thing to start it. And
there was a good premise around it.
Yeah. It was awesome, and they kept it going with Revelations. I don't think 3 had multiplayer, did it?
Yeah, 3 did, and then Black Flag I think was the last one to have.
Okay, right. Well, okay.
Well, technically Unity has it, but it's like in the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you can have Assassins help you with missions, because there are special co-op missions. But in 2012 is when Assassin's Creed 3 came out. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this one, I was burned out by Revelations. I have never played Assassin's Creed 3. This is the only one.
Good.
Well, besides Rogue. I never played Rogue either when it came out. But I never played 3. This one was set in like the colonial era during the American Revolution.
He just keeps like, good. Good. He'll say it throughout the whole time.
This is the worst one.
Sure. And this is the one where you play as Connor. You were like this half Indian, half British.
And half boring.
See, I found...
He was the worst assassin. I'll agree with you on that.
What do you think, Brian? This is when you hop back in. So for you, it was fresh, because you haven't played Assassin's Creed since 2.
Right. I was finally refreshed, so I dug in. Justin, our guest from last week, made a good point on this game. I think the story was really good, actually. I liked how it tied the American culture, when I first heard about this, I'm like, okay, I got to get this game, because I'm Native American, and it was nice just to, learn more about that. And they did a really good job of telling the story in that regard. The problem with the game for me is that the tutorial is ridiculously long, like a couple hours, and you don't even play as
Connor.
What is his name? Connor, until at the end of that, and then you're a boy then, and then he goes through adulthood and things like that. And then also, what was I going to say? The combat in the mission structure was atrocious, and that's where I agree with Rob. It wasn't fun, and that's the main problem. If they would have hit with the actual gameplay, with the story, it would have been the best Assassin's Creed, but it wasn't there.
Sure. And Rob, why do you dislike this one so much? Because you kept saying no. I'm kind of curious where those no's are coming from.
So first off, I was really, really excited about this. I thought, American Revolution is a great timepiece, great setting. I thought the idea of having a Native American assassin, would be super interesting. And instead what ended up happening was the story was just interesting, but the character himself was very boring. I mean, he's monotone throughout. He's just kind of grumpy. He's not like angry. He's not like, he's just kind of grumpy the whole time.
Right.
And I mean, Josh hit it on the head when he talks about the tutorial being way too long. I mean, it's, 2.5 hours, I think 3 hours until you get to play as Connor. Then you're playing as a boy. Then you're playing as him training as an assassin. It literally does not open up and start getting
4 hours.
No, seriously, I went back. It takes like 10 to 12 hours before that game starts getting even enjoyable, The rest of it is just like a really long extended tutorial. You're not even, I don't think you're out of your starting like home area, if you want to call it that, a starting town, until about 8 hours in. So
wow.
It takes way too long to get started. The history stuff's interesting, and I even thought the modern day stuff was interesting, but the the character himself was very, very boring, and it takes way too long to get started. And that's actually a problem that every game since then has had as well, is that these games take too long to get started.
Sure.
I mean, I don't like it as much as others, but for different reasons, I think. Like, unlike you guys, I actually kind of liked the tutorial. To me, it didn't feel like a tutorial so much as just story missions, and I really liked how they had that twist, because I didn't really read up on the game much beforehand. I knew you were going to be Connor, but like when I started off as somebody else, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I thought it was going to be for like a mission or two, and at that point, I realized what kind of saved me. After Revelations, after suffering through that, I'm like, I'm not going to do the extra stuff. I'm just going to do main missions until I feel like I've went far enough into the game that I can do extra stuff. So I literally just did main mission, and that helped a lot because I got through that tutorial area a lot quicker. Connor was growing up a lot quicker. I was only about 5 hours into the game by the time I was like halfway through the whole game on memories, and that was really nice because I literally did nothing side. And then I got into the side area. What started to hurt it for me was I mean, I love America and everything, but it was not a good setting. It was not an interesting setting. Boston and New York were too small. There wasn't a whole lot going on. It was great to see some historical events like the Boston Tea Party and the Boston,
Ben Franklin,
massacre
meeting all the George Washington and stuff. Yeah.
Those were neat, but actually walking around the atmosphere, it was a much more boring setting than other games I've had.
Bland.
Yeah, it was very bland, and they made a big deal about how like it was the first game where you could run on trees because they had that huge forest area, and that was so boring to run through. Like I just started doing fast travel all the time because it was just so horrible. The hunting came in that game, didn't it?
Yeah,
where you learned how to hunt. That was neat, but it was too much side, and I realized that if I ever got into the side stuff, I was not going to finish that game. And then the other reason I hated the end. Yeah. I hated the choice that he made at the end and what happened with Desmond.
Sure. Do you want to elaborate on that? Since you're already talking about it, that's fine. Go ahead and sort of let us know what happened.
I'm trying to remember exactly, so you correct me if I'm wrong, but I just remember like the whole time they're at this like, I don't know if it's like a cave or something like that in that area, in that countryside in America, and they're trying to get in through this like closed off sealed gate of some kind, and then whatever he gets, I can't remember what he gets throughout the game, what he looks for, but he eventually opens it. Desmond does at the end of the game, and Juno, that lady, pops up and says, okay, a solar flare's coming, and all you can do to save humanity is to like basically put your hand on here and like kill yourself, and it's going to put a shield around humanity, but I, as Juno, get like full control of the planet or something like that. That's probably not exactly right, but again, I'm going off memory from 3 years ago. And that was just a ridiculous end. I was like, I'm done. Like after that game, I was like, I'm done. And that's why I didn't touch the next Assassin's Creed until 5 days ago.
Yeah, and I think what it was is that she would be freed basically from that where she was like, because she could only interact with you when you were at these points in across the world, whereas this point. Yeah. And I mean, it definitely is like, especially with all the hopes that we had for a future Assassin's Creed in modern day, it kind of just killed those right then and there. It was really disappointing. I like Desmond as a character. I know a lot of people complain about him, but I thought he was just starting to get even more interesting because now you have that dynamic where his father was now part of the team, and his father had been an assassin and kept it from Desmond like his whole life. Like I said back then, Desmond started as a bartender at the first one, when he was kidnapped. What I will say about Assassin's Creed 3 is that it did have the best looking assassin's outfit of all the games.
Sure. Sure, yeah.
And it introduced the boat mechanics.
Right,
too.
and yes, and that's
right.
actually what kicked off Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. And in Assassin's Creed 4, you're Edward Kenway. And the cool thing is they actually kind of tied it into Assassin's Creed 3. You were supposed to be, the great-grandfather or something like that, or the grandfather of Connor?
No, it was grandfather, because it was Connor's dad who started off as. It was his dad.
So I mean, that was actually really cool. They kind of linked them together. And like Brant was saying, it used those ship mechanics. Although, Matt, I will agree with you, running through trees is boring because with Black Flag, because I know you're playing through it right now. And by the way, if you haven't played it yet, like Matt mentioned earlier, it's the free game on Xbox One this month. So get on there and download it if you want to check it out.
It's definitely worth it. Yeah,
and
It's also gone now. So
is it?
Yeah, it's
yeah,
Oh, it is?
It's
August
August,
1st.
guys.
It's
Oh, that's right.
Oh, man,
that's right.
I forgot.
That's right.
you missed your chance.
Oh no!
you can honestly, if you look around, you can get that game for
Super-
like
super cheap,
$10.
yeah.
$5. Yeah.
But one thing that kind of it was very for an Assassin's Creed game for me. It just felt so slow paced because I know there was fast travel, but you had to you didn't have to, but if you wanted to find everything, you had to sail everywhere, and sailing took a good amount of time. And you get to these little tiny islands, and all you do is the parkour and the tree stuff. You just kind of jump from tree to tree, I liked the older Assassin's Creed where you're in like a giant city and you could just run everywhere. I really liked that. So for me, I enjoyed Assassin's Creed 4, but just all the sailing and just not having that big city, I just didn't like it.
I must be different from everyone because this is my favorite Assassin's Creed game.
Sure, and a lot of people say that. Sure.
Yeah, I love.
Josh, I'm actually right there with you.
Yeah, I love the sailing mechanics. They toned it in a good way for this release because the game's centered on that. A lot of it's centered on that, and yeah, they broke up the islands enough. I wish there was like some more bigger cities you could run through, but it didn't feel like a chore to get around. Say in the treetops or anything to me. I thought it controlled a lot better. I found the protagonist, forget his name,
Edward.
Edward.
Edward, yeah, he was interesting. He's probably my favorite protagonist. And yeah, the cast of characters you meet, it didn't take long to get, into the flow of things. Yeah, it's a really good game.
Yeah, I like Blackbeard, how he's going crazy. Like I'm playing it right now for the first time, and I'm like a little over halfway through on the memories. And what I love about it is, like I agree, Jamie. If you go around and you feel like you have to find all the chests and all the animus fragments, then of course you'll get burned out. But I literally am skipping all.
You're
I'll
just
pick
doing
up
main
chests,
story,
obviously, if they're nearby. I'm doing story, but I'm also doing the build up the ship and the pirate sailing and just experiencing life as a pirate, and that is awesome.
You gotta like how they
getting
sing
feels-
shanties while you're like sailing
sing the
everywhere.
shanties or catch whales or whatever.
I used to play Sid Meier's Pirates, that game back in the day.
Oh, that's
if you guys
such a
remember
great
that.
game.
This
That was a good
feels
game.
like, this feels like Sid Meier's Pirates brought to life in a where you can actually play as a character, and it is crazy. Like the whole when I first came up to a galleon or a man of war, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't take that thing on. And then finally working around and taking down other ships and boarding them and stealing their supplies and sending them to my fleet and building up my fleet. And then finally I built up my ship strong enough to where I can take on a man of war. And the first time I took it down, I was like, yes, I really felt like I was building up as a notorious pirate. And then that part's awesome.
Pretty epic.
The stories, I'm kind of, I like it so far. Blackbeard's pretty crazy. I'm not far enough into it. I haven't seen
It's
the
pretty
end.
great,
Yeah,
pretty
I was just-
straightforward.
Yeah. So we won't spoil this one since you're playing it now. But Rob, what do you think of Assassin's Creed 4?
No, I would agree with everything they're saying. I think that we're back to having an interesting character as our protagonist that we control. Edward was funny. He was also one of the few characters where everybody else has their motivation set out right from the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of just stumbles into this.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah, he just didn't care.
Yeah. And he's not doing this for a noble reason, at least not in the beginning of the game. He's just doing this because it's there,
Yeah.
I think he starts off as he's masquerading in this outfit. He hasn't actually, earned the assassin title or trained as the assassin title. And again, not only and they fine tune they fine tune the ship mechanics in this, where it's a ton of fun going around and engaging in these ship battles and trying to build it up. Again, I think my problem with this game and a problem with a lot of these games is that when you're first starting out, and I understand that you're new as an assassin, but when you're first starting out, you don't feel very powerful, and a lot of the combat is a bit tedious at first, and it isn't until later when you start to upgrade some of your weapons and you start to get new abilities and then new weapons. I think this was actually in this game they introduced the sleep darts, the blow darts and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and the berserk darts too.
Yeah,
where you can
and
make
those
them go
things
crazy.
are awesome. They are so
I
much
like
fun.
those.
Right, yeah.
And so when you get later through the game, and again, this is a game that gets better the more you play, So I think as much as I enjoyed the game, even from the beginning, I think my favorite parts of the game, not just gameplay wise, but also story wise, is 10 hours on.
Yeah.
And the cast of characters surrounding Kenway are amazing, and they're super interesting. They're funny. Some of them are terrible people, and then one character in particular has a pretty interesting reveal. Although I saw it coming, but has a pretty interesting reveal about 2/3 of the way through. And obviously, I don't want to spoil it now because Matt. Matt's got.
Well, are you talking about the James Kate or whatever it is?
Yes.
Yeah, she's a girl or whatever. Yeah. I found that out.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
don't want to spoil anything more, but the whole storyline is very interesting. And then when Kenway does get to the point where he's doing this for the right reasons, it feels earned.
Sure.
And so that's the part of this that's the part of this game that
you sense him grow
exactly
throughout the game.
Just answer one thing for me. It keeps flashing back before every couple main memories to when he was I don't know if it's his wife or his girlfriend from back home in France or England or whatever. Does that does it show you what happens between them by the end?
Yes, I think it does.
Okay, because I'm kind of hoping I'm wondering if he goes back to England and meets up with her again and has a kid, and that's where Connor's dad comes from. But I don't know.
I think it does. I think it does wrap that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, after that, guys, we hop into, actually in 2013, 2 games came out. Assassin's Creed Rogue also came out, and this was a past gen. This was a 360 PS3 game. And honestly, none of us have played that. So we're not gonna talk about that.
Actually, now that we talk about this, I'd like to, but
yeah.
Yeah, is there any story?
It's set in the same time period
that's
as Black Flag, I believe. And it's kind of just a side
but you
mission.
play on the opposite side.
Yeah.
Well, I guess one thing we forgot to mention with Black Flag is the modern story.
Yeah,
you work for
they start kind of
Abstergo.
backing away from the modern because now Desmond's gone. It's kind of like you're just a a no-name kind of person that's just sort of exploring Abstergo, and you're kind of caught in the middle of what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm confused because apparently I'm working for Abstergo, and the Abstergo lady's really nice, but the whole time I feel like I'm hacking them and trying to tear them apart. And I go downstairs and I see Rebecca and Sean, the 2 people who were with me in Assassin's Creed 2 and 3. And one of them's selling sandwiches or something, or coffee, and the other's coming in to get mail. And I'm okay, am I helping out the assassins? But I don't know it. Am I an assassin?
Just keep playing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Just keep playing.
Okay.
With them doing it this way, especially in Unity and things like that, before the old Assassin's Creed games, I felt like with the single-player stuff, they were really trying to have a fixed story about Desmond. This is what it's about. And now with the new ones, with this one and with Unity, we're going to talk about in a minute, it's less about the present day and more about your time in history, I feel.
So almost you don't have to play every game now. You can just play the ones you want and still understand what's going on.
Yeah, I still would. Although we'll get to it when we get to Unity.
They make it more forgiving because with Assassin's Creed 3, I had no clue what was going on.
Sure, yeah, exactly, because you had to pay attention to. You had to play all the games to know what was going on.
Right.
But now with
Matt,
the wonder of
real
the
quick,
internet.
What does your heart tell you you're helping? Who does your heart tell you you're helping?
I mean, my heart's helping. I'm helping
Right,
the
search your
assassins, but I'm trying to figure out if I'm technically knowledgeable that I am an assassin already, or if I'm just somebody who's getting caught up in helping the assassins.
You'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with that, guys, in 2014, Assassin's Creed Unity came out. Now, this was the first next-gen only Assassin's Creed, and it had some problems. In this game, you're actually Arno is your name of your assassin, and it was during the French Revolution. And so you're in, trying to remember what the main city was.
1790s.
Yes.
Oh, Paris?
Yeah, it was, I'm trying to remember what city was it, Rob? I'm trying to remember here. Wait, it was just Paris, right?
It's Paris. It's because you
don't see
Versailles in
the
there.
Eiffel Tower or anything.
No.
No, it was before it was built.
Right. So Paris, Versailles, and there's a third big location.
in French Revolution.
Sure. And when this game came out, though, it has some major issues. There are all these bugs in it. Characters' faces weren't showing up properly, and just showing the eyes and the teeth. If you Google this, you can see some pretty terrifying things. Looks like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, and most of those bugs were only on the
incidents.
PC.
Yes.
Yeah, on the PC.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but there were a lot of problems on consoles as well.
It just didn't run well.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the time I played it, I got it like not even 3 or 4 months ago. Like I just got it, and by then everything's been patched. And I'm actually having a really good time with it. Now I feel like the actual story of Arno isn't. I mean, it's just a basic revenge plot. I'm actually not all the way through it yet. That's what I got to get back to and finish. I'm about a little over halfway through, and it's fine. And I really enjoy Arno as a character. I just don't think his story's that interesting.
Oh, he's a boob.
I enjoy Arno as a character. I don't know.
I want to enjoy him.
No,
but
Right.
Yeah, he's probably my least favorite.
Sure.
yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to playing that one because I love that setting, and that's something that I actually teach in my world history classes. So I'm kind of interested to see how they show anything from like the storming of the Bastille or the Reign of Terror, things
Sure.
like that. Like I don't know what eras it goes through, but and Napoleon's in the game, right? I'm assuming.
I haven't gotten that far if he is.
Okay, he would be after
He is.
1799,
Yeah, he
most
is.
likely, unless
Okay.
you saw him
No, he's in
beforehand
it. He's in it.
developing
He's
as
in the second half of the game. But you only
Okay,
have like
yeah,
2 or
makes
3
sense.
interactions with them.
Gotcha.
Aw.
I mean, I've
well.
enjoyed it. I mean, for all the flack it got, it added a lot of things like you were talking about before, Brant. Co-op, I think Brant, you were the one that said it. Co-op missions are in the game versus just full-on
Yeah.
multiplayer. Although they did say this will be like, at least for now, the last showing of multiplayer in Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which they just announced, coming out this year, October. It's October, right, of this year, I believe. Assassin's Creed Syndicate comes out.
I think so.
Right, and that game will not have any multiplayer in it. That's not going to have any multiplayer, and that one's actually going to be
Great.
set in 1868, Victoria, London, and you actually play as 2 different protagonists in that game. I'm trying to remember what their names are. Now I can't remember it. I didn't write it down.
And their brother and sister.
Yeah, they're brother and sister, right?
So if it's in the 1860s, I'm kind of like in Unity in the future, the present or whatever. I read an email where they said, hey, we're going to look at all these different stories in these eras. And one of them mentioned the French Revolution, and it had like China and like
Yeah.
all these different areas, and they've come out with the mobile game. So it was like a few years ago they were anticipating in their next releases. Well, it said London with Jack the Ripper, but the 60s would be like 30 years before Jack the Ripper. Unless you go through.
Well, normally in
later,
these games
so-
you go through quite a bit of time.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I think they did mention that Jack the Ripper would play a part because in Unity they started doing where you can solve the different mysteries and crimes
Oh yeah.
as side missions and stuff like that. And I think that's going to be the same thing in Syndicate. So I do believe they did mention Jack the Ripper though being a part of that game.
Okay.
Cool.
To talk about Unity, besides Arno being I think one of my least favorite characters.
Sure.
Actually, his love interest is way more interesting than he is.
Yeah.
Has anybody finished the game?
No, I have not. And
I played
I'm
it,
playing
but
them in
I
order, so I haven't touched it.
I think you're the only one here that's finished it, man.
Oh my god. Okay, so they do something at the very, very end where once you beat it, pay attention to what the person in modern day is saying to you.
Okay.
Oh my god. It was the most infuriating thing ever.
Okay.
I'll have to Google that.
Shot my
Go
stress
ahead and
ball
spoil
right.
it.
I really want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it. I'll
I mean,
finish it.
I'm cool with hearing
Hey,
it.
I'm not.
when you guys
right.
finish it, we'll sit down. We'll have a
Okay,
conversation.
right. Okay, cool. cool.
All
And
right,
I'll let you
all right.
guys. You guys will know. You guys should know. But Like I
Sure.
said, just pay attention to what the person in modern day is saying to you as the credits are rolling.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's also one of those games where it took way too much time to start getting fun for
Sure.
me.
Okay.
And I would put it towards the bottom. If not, it's definitely not the worst because that is 3, but
Sure.
it's definitely it's definitely like the bottom 3. And I know
See-
we're skipping over it, but
Right.
I think Assassin's Creed Liberation on the Vita.
I forgot about that,
Was,
yeah.
was pretty good. It's not great, but I thought it was pretty good. It
Okay.
ran pretty well on the Vita. And Rogue came out the same year as Unity, not as Black Flag.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
Right.
Okay. But one thing I will say about Unity, though, I think the reason I enjoyed Unity so much is that it got back to the city. You could run around, like I said, I like having
Right.
the dense city you can run around and see all the people, where with sailing, you're just kind of out in the open. It was just vast, and like you went to these little islands and nobody was there. And like, I like being back to the core Assassin's Creed of running around the city and over rooftops, and I loved getting back into that, and I think that's why I enjoyed Unity as much as I have so far.
Yeah, I'll say part of what's helping me, I guess, and really enjoy the setting with Black Flag, and I think it's just awesome anyway. But you know how like on Xbox you can snap stuff? Well, I converted Pirates of the Caribbean, the movies, to video files, and I just loaded them on the system.
Hilarious.
And then I've been snapping the media player, so I've been watching Pirates while playing the game.
That's fun.
It's made it really fun.
Yep.
Well, real quick, guys, I guess just to cap off our topic of the week. Like I said, Assassin's Creed Syndicate comes out in October. Now, first of all, are we all picking this game up? I'm kind of curious. Brant, are you going to be getting Syndicate by any chance?
Yeah, I'll probably be getting it that year.
Cool. That's
this
very
year,
rare
yeah.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because there's something about Assassin's Creed that just pulls you back in.
It does,
You don't know
exactly.
what it is because
Exactly.
you realize they're not. You might not think they're the best games, but then they keep putting a new setting in. And you're just like, okay,
Exactly,
I gotta play
yeah.
this, and it's an interesting phenomenon. But yeah, I'm gonna be digging in, and I'm hoping that they fixed all the buggy issues
Sure.
with the Unity for the launch, which I think they will. Usually, every other Assassin's Creed game that's really on top. So.
Right. And honestly, I agree, Brant. It's like every time I get burned by an Assassin's Creed game or I feel like I'm about to get burned out, I'm done with the series, they release a new trailer for the next game, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to play this. It's just, there's something about the setting.
Yeah.
It's just so exciting. I mean, Rob, I'm sure you're going to pick it up as well. Or the collector's edition, obviously, right?
Listen, the main character, the male main character, his name is Jacob. The figurine in this collector's edition looks so good.
Cool. I haven't actually seen it yet, so I have no idea what it looks like.
I'm all over it. I'm definitely gonna get it.
Awesome. What about you, Matt?
Not right away because I'm one of those people like I can't play the next game until I play the earlier one, so I'll probably actually pick up Unity this fall and then probably
you can always borrow
a few
Unity
months
from
after,
me
but
if you need to. That's cool.
that's true. But no, I think it looks awesome. I just really hope they improve running around and running up the wall. Like it's so crazy. I played Shadow of Mordor like not too long ago, and then went into Black Flag, and I love Black Flag, like everything about it. But running around and running up buildings is there's still so many bugs. Like you run up the wrong wall and you just fall down, and
Or
then
you won't go in the
you're, like,
window
going
you
around
want to go
stuff.
into.
Yeah.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
You just
there's
climb
so many
around it,
problems
yeah.
with that. Whereas like Shadow of Mordor is like the same feel in running around and how it controls, but it's like amazing because it works so perfectly. So and I know it's a different company and everything, but I just like if other games can do it, then they really need to fix that engine for Assassin's Creed. Other than that, I mean, I'm just excited to see what it has to bring.
Sure.
You know, like I'm sure they'll add some cool mechanics and the crime thing sounds really cool. I want to try that out in Unity. We'll need that.
Cool.
But
Okay, guys. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this show, this kind of look back over the Assassin's Creed series. And, we're all pretty excited for Assassin's Creed Syndicate this October, so hopefully it turns out awesome. And Rob, thank you, sir, for joining us, Mr. Number 3.
yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, 3P.
That's right.
Three-peat.
Are you
Good to have you
pretty
on the
excited
show.
about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I told you, I'm gonna take over this eventually.
Right.
That's right.
Oh, man. Well, let people know, where can people find you, sir, and all your amazing work?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I write for theworkprint.com, and I edit all of James' articles over at theworkprint.com. That's mostly what my job has become. That's mostly
You
what my job
spend
has
enough.
become.
Yeah. Yep.
Is editing his articles. I must say that he is doing an amazing job over there. He's putting up news
Thank you,
on
sir.
a regular basis, and he's transformed the video game section.
Hopefully in a good way, right?
I mean, in a way,
You turned our golden goose into a big old ball of crap.
No, it's been
Right,
good
right.
stuff so far. It's been good stuff. You can find me on Twitter at SunnyVice, SUNNYVICE20, SunnyVice20. That's also my Xbox Live, PSN, YouTube, where I do some unboxing videos and some Let's Play videos and gameplay videos. You can also listen to the Workprint actually started a podcast called the Final Cut Podcast. If you just search for the Workprint, you should find it on iTunes and other podcast services. James was on our latest episode. Which
That's right.
Also happened to be our best episode. Definitely by coincidence.
Are you trying to suck up to
thank
come
you,
on
sir.
for a
Thank
fourth
you.
one?
No, I've already got the title of 3. So if he doesn't
no.
if he doesn't bring me on
true.
again for a 4th one, I'm just gonna cut him loose from the Workprint.
Well, thank you, sir.
You're fired.
Thank you guys. It's always a blast, man.
Awesome. And we're glad to have you, man. It's just been fun, man. Well, Matt, where can people find you, sir?
Twitter is cpunkrock07, like 07 and that. And Xbox is xmightymatt14x, and that's pretty much the only things I really get on.
And YouTube on the Life of Gaming podcast.
Yeah, YouTube on Life of Gaming podcast. I'll put up my last Donkey Kong video. Probably here like next couple days, and then start getting my Super Metroid plays up.
And Brant, what about you, sir? Where can people find you?
I'm at minus the brand on Twitter. Look me up. That's my screen name for everything, and add me on PSN, and we can play some games.
Awesome. And you guys know where you can find me at JamesPlus12 on Twitter. I am Jamester0722 on Twitch and on Xbox as well. And you know where you can find the Life of Gaming podcast. We are on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter at Life of Gaming Pod, so make sure to follow that. You can listen to us all over the place. We are on iTunes, so make sure to go on there to rate us. That would be awesome. We're on the Microsoft MP3 store. You can find us on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube. We are taking over the world.
One listener at a time.
That's right. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed the show. And, next time we'll be continuing this summer game series, and it will actually be on Halo. So if you are a Halo fan, make sure to check out that episode. But hopefully you've enjoyed the show.
It's all you, Matt.
Yeah, I got to do some research. I got to read up on the last few books.
Well, until next time, guys, we are out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Later.